All right, welcome back to Lessons from the Sherpa. I am your host, Steve C. I'm a leadership coach and trusted advisor. Today, we're going to talk about the topic of neutral thinking. But before we go there, I have exciting news of an amazing program, one of the best that I've created to date. It's the most well-rounded, intensive 9-month journey of 5 key leaders that I'm going to be leading this coming January of 2025. If you'd like to learn more, please go to my website at Coach Steve C. That's STEVESEAY.com/events to learn more. Now, back to neutral thinking. There's a great mental conditioning coach that I've followed over the years named Trevor Moawad. He wrote 2 great books. One of them is called It Takes What It Takes, and the other one's called Getting to Neutral. There's a great quote that I wrote down, and he says, and this is a key as I start this, is pertaining to especially with negative thinking, as you see on the whiteboard. One concept that has remained constant is that negativity works negatively 100% of the time. Let me read that again. One concept that has remained constant is that negativity works negatively 100% of the time. So we see that when I'm talking about mindset today, there's 3 different places we want to come from. There's neutral thinking, which I want to hone in on. There's negative thinking, and then there's positive thinking. Okay? When I think about negative thinking, we know that when I'm looking at negative thinking, there's this question in my head of where's that coming from? Where is that coming from? I have past regrets, past losses, past failures. Usually I go into a state of depression or a depressed state of mind because I'm thinking about what I used to be. Maybe questions come up like, why me? Why did this happen? You see that there's a story that plays out, like a false narrative of what has happened to me up to this point. And I'm starting to look at the what ifs, the why nots, the gaps. I'm looking at the glass half full. And so when you think about this idea of mindset-wise, we know through studies that the power of negative thinking is so powerful that it is at least 4 to 7 times more powerful when we think it. But get this, it's actually 10 times more powerful, 10 times more powerful when we actually utter it and we speak negatively. You think about it, we see it on the news, right? We see it on social media often. We see it at work with drama, shop talk, gossip. We get drawn to it. Hey, did you hear the scuttlebutt? Did you hear the news? We get easily sucked into that so fast. So negativity really oftentimes can run the show. Our past, this is the things that we try to drag our past into our present. Then we look at positive thinking. And positive thinking looks a little bit better. It doesn't look as, right? It looks a little bit more optimistic, looks a little bit more hopeful. But sometimes when we look at positive thinking, we skip around what's current in front of us right now. And we can jump into our future without even realizing it. That's whenever you get to a state of anxiety, a state of worry, which I go there often myself. I'm jumping ahead in myself. I love the quote by Byron Katie. It's, if you want to be anxious, give yourself a future. Because that's where worry, fear, and uncertainty, they live in that area. That's the area that, what if this happens? How's that going to play out for me? Right? I will be someday. Notice this is I call it the dreamland. It's different than vision. A dream is everything starts from a dream perhaps. Like, oh, one day I'd like to. But at some point it has to step into a vision where I can actually have actionable steps, which we're going to talk a little bit about. Steps where I can take of action towards it. I call it necessary required actions, or NRA. And you think about positive thinking looks good, but again, it gets us to a state of anxiety, worry. If I go to my past, I'm more depressed than my has been. What about the present? What if I lived in the present? And one of the things that Trevor Moawad, he does a lot of work with athletes, he does a lot of work with high-level, corporations and companies and CEOs on this idea of, instead of just looking at life through positive or negative, this neutral. And it's looking out the next play. What's now? What's next? You see this picture of a football. He did a lot of work with quarterbacks or people in a position like pitchers in baseball or goalies in soccer, where you see that maybe I made a poor play, maybe I threw an interception, or I made a bad pass, or I turned the ball over. Well, I could look at my play that just happened and let it frustrate me to my and let the whole rest of the game get shaped out by my mistakes. Or I could look at the future and be like, oh, let's just move on to the future, move past this moment. Instead of, no, I have a next opportunity. I have a new play, a new down. And this is something that my coach, Gary Mahler, has taught me. This now and next. Focus on what I can do to decide my next choice action. I get the opportunity to create. You notice the word I am, this I am. I get to declare who I'm going to be, how I want to show up, how I want to be. I could have messed up, say, we talk about sports, but also with raising kids, that I'm in that season. Maybe something at work that we're working on, a project perhaps, or something that we're doing that matters to us. All I need to focus on is now, next. What's the next play? What's the next down? I have a new, fresh set of downs. I have a new opportunity to create and actually have choice in that. That's where I have agency, is now. So if I want to live in the moment, which is where everything is created, this neutral thinking, where I'm not thinking ahead, I'm not thinking behind, I'm just on the next play. And I want to stay here. You notice some of the things that we would need to do to stay out of, I say, reactive mode. You see underneath create here is I want to start to eliminate things, delete or eliminate things like the words like news. I need to delete the things that are speaking a lot of the negative in my life. Maybe things like I can't, words that I can't. Remember, words are powerful, 10 times more powerful. And so I want to use words that I can. What can I do? I want to not be comparing myself to others. So oftentimes we're comparing. How am I doing measuring up to someone else? And oftentimes I can live in a land of anxiety and worry. Also, there's terms that psychologists use called FOMO or FOPO, fear of missing out, fear of other people's opinions, right? I want to not listen to the noise of the world. I want to listen to what's in here, in my own gut, my own spirit. And this victim music, a lot of things that we listen to, what are we putting into our head each day to help us to show up and say, you know what, I do have choice. I can decide. I can create. I can take a next step if I block out the negative stuff coming into my life each day. And I want to end with this great quote that I love. This is facing one day at a time. Worry belongs to tomorrow, right? Regret belongs to yesterday. But happiness is available here and now. It's available right now. So thinking about this today, if you do want help with taking the right next steps to get back into neutral, the being neutral, which is where all action, where it's where life is played, I would love to connect with you. Go to my website, coachstevec.com. We can connect there. Well, hopefully today was a great value to you, and I look forward to seeing you on the next Elevate Up Plus YouTube channel episode. Until then, you have an awesome day, and let's keep rising, elevating up together. Bye for now. Hi, my name is Steve C., leadership coach and trusted advisor. Some call me the Sherpa. Most men and women lead lives of quiet desperation. They die with the music still in them. And that's why I created the Second Mountain Project. We know of the first mountain as self-actualization from Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's the second mountain that we're going to touch on. This has to do with our eulogy virtues. There's 3 pillars in this. One is energy. What kind of energy, capacity do you have to give to others at home and work? Second one is our work and our vocation. What's our calling? What do we give to that has more meaning beyond ourselves? And the third one is love. Our world needs more love today, doesn't it? And that's what we're going to spend our focus on, is how do we build up who we're being and becoming in the world today. My coach, Stephen McGee, said, the hardest mountain to climb is the mountain within. And there's 5 core buckets that we're going to dump into over the year together. The first one being our spiritual fitness. The second one being our physical fitness. The third one being our emotional fitness. The fourth, our mental fitness. And 5, our directional fitness. And all 5 buckets are necessary in order for us to be able to climb on the second mountain in a way where we have more capacity, more ability to step into that place. I believe in the idea that we need to be the change that we wish to see in the world today. And as a result of being in this program 1 year together, is you have more fulfillment, more joy, more satisfaction, more buoyancy, and more ability to handle any circumstance that comes our way. So please join me as I look forward to having a conversation with you about how you can be part of the 2025 Elevate Up tribe. Let's climb higher together. Happy trails.